Hi guys, how's it going? I often think to myself, what is truth? Who is the person who may as well get to know the truth? What is real or not? And basically that got me thinking in many ways, simply because truth is supposed to be told. I mean, is it truth whatever we can say with words? Can I tell you right here, right now, what is true and what isn't? Okay, let's say I can. In what terms? Well, I believe I can only say the things that I know to be true. And of course, by default, this may as well exclude me from getting to know other people who get to know other parts of truth that I particularly do not know. And basically, I may as well start saying that if that's the case, it may as well may mean that I'm a person who tries to find out himself, only to find out that there's no point to try and do that because there's not always a part of yourself that you get to know, that you basically, there are going to be part of yourself that you probably going to not know, and somebody else will notice upon you. And the thing is that may as well be that one thing may as well be missing from the idea of yourself that you know to be true. And if this is missing, basically you don't really have an entire truth, you have only semi-truth. And so if there is a person who basically can say that this is reality, because this is what I often listen from many people, this is reality, what are you gonna do? Be realistic. Oh, this will not work, you should be realistic, or something of that sort. I'm saying this because what is real? Basically, what I'm hearing from these people basically is that there's just either nothing or only the thing that I understand right now, and know everything in between. There's no alternative. There's no other view in a way. And so it is so weird for me, the idea of what? The idea of just using truth and reality so casually when those things basically are beyond our reach, beyond our minds. The funny thing is that when you try to use your mind to basically get to define what truth is and basically try to also grasp it in a way, you don't really get truth. You basically realize how limited you are for you to get to know what truth means. And so I'm saying this because we are human beings, all right? We're trying to make out our lives. And basically, we both want to do our personal lives matter and do the things that we want and need. And at the same time, we must have a practical, let's say, guide or a way to either make our lives happen or the things that we don't have, but later we want them to have. And the thing is that, okay, if people think that there's such thing as reality and truth that they can define, and nothing else beyond that is more true than that, probably their own identity is going to be an obstacle to try to understand truth in general. But the thing is, I think that is so energy consuming because in the end, who cares? Let's just live our lives and do the things that we want. And so I'm saying this because I think it's a bad habit to try and find out what reality is. And that has nothing to do with basically us as people who try to think about ourselves and try to back up the things that we are saying and we believe, to try to back them up with some kind of evidence or actual evidence or some type of logic. And so having proof, their so-called proof, may as well may convince us or other people around us that what we believe to be true is actually true. Because what? Why? We have that actual proof that proves our point. And so if there can be such thing as truth, there probably has to be on an individual level, because the individual gets to decide what he or she knows about their beliefs. For example, I cannot say that I'm a doctor without basically proving that I can heal people, or that I get to know many stuff about what doctors know about anyways. And the thing is that I can also say that I'm a doctor if I had the license. Okay, I can have the license that basically says that I'm a doctor. Is that the same by having the knowledge of being a doctor? Well, sort of yes, but maybe no. But not no. It's not my call. I'm not a doctor anyways. And the thing is that all this, that example about the doctor, for example, if we decide what a doctor is and what defines a doctor, basically, may as well, basically everything can be come down to this principle that if we cannot define what truth is, or what a doctor is in this case, then potentially nothing can exist. If we don't put a name upon it, if we don't say that this is this, then it doesn't exist in a way. And so when we make attempts to basically differentiate everything into giving everything and everyone their own individual identities and usage and usages, and in other words, usefulness and identities, if we do not break them down to point out what these people and things are for, we may as well consider that these things that do not exist. So, if we do not define reality as reality, there's no point of searching for reality. If you can define reality, it can only be in some limited terms into what reality means, because there are many other things that an individual may as well know that many other individuals do know, and this should be under the consideration for some people who try to define reality as best as they can. And I'm saying this because I'm oversaying this basically. I don't think this needs so much analysis, in my opinion, on this matter, but I'm saying this because of this. Because I think people should do about what their lives, people should do what they want with their lives. And they should care more about what they want to say and they want to think and what they want to do eventually with their lives. And all that by itself is much more important than trying to find out what reality is and to be realistic and basically never making an attempt to live your life the way you want and make decisions that matter to you. And it's just such a pity in my eyes to just try to define what reality is when basically we have no job basically find out what reality is. It's way too complicated, but it's not so complicated to find out what you want. And basically reality may as well be generated in a way, in beneficial ways to each person. For example, I may as well want this to decide to become an engineer, and that for me to become an engineer, I must study, work potentially, and basically go to some kind of university of college to gain some degree. And that is going to solidify my identity as an engineer. And that can potentially be from now to 5 years later. And so if I remember to do such things, if I remember to decide from now that in 5 years' time from now, I get to become something I never thought I could, how can we say that we know what reality is when we can basically maneuver it? We can basically manipulate reality under our will. Well, I suggest if we are able to do such things, we should go ahead and do it right away, because life is for us, if we really believe that. Or maybe I should say that, okay, life is for us, but we live and then we do not live. And that is something that I think needs to be given. We need to give much more attention to that, simply because nobody gives a damn in the end. It matters more for us to do what we want and try our best in a way to either discover ourselves, discover our hobbies, discover how we unite with this beautiful, gorgeous place that we call Earth and space and universe, basically. Nothing really matters more than that. Nothing really matters more than the things that make you feel more present than anything else. Whether these are activities, whether those things are relationships and beautiful unions with loved ones and family and friends. And I think the concept of reality gets in their way. We try to find out what reality is. Basically, if you try to think it for yourself, there's no point to try and do that after a lot of thinking. Why? Because it's true to individual person by itself. And even though that sentence by itself may as well make me seem as if I'm a guy who just denies science in every way, because obviously science is the attempt, the research to essentially find out what truth is and basically find out how nature works, how we can live in harmony with basically this beautiful world. And the thing is that also what science does, and that is also a thing that I would like to point out, is that even though we're trying to find out objectively how the laws of nature work, those things not only should be known to the humankind because humans want to know those things, but we also want to use them to our advantage, of course. I mean, you can have one guy particularly take an ember and basically start putting it on him and try to produce some electricity in a way. And years later, you have today's year and age where you can have basically electric cars. And how did that happen? Because we took that basic form of electricity and that law of nature, and we used it to advantage until we studied the hell out of that. And after that, what did we do? Well, the next thing we know is we have elevators, is we have rockets, is we have electric cars, and all those things are the humans benefit. And so if a person basically has to define reality, an objective reality, in which case I think that cannot exist. Such thing cannot exist. One objective truth cannot exist in the human of the species, because the humans are basically designed to either rebel and just say, okay, this, no matter how strong or powerful it seems to be, this idea, this thing, no matter how powerful it seems, I'm still going to find ways to prove it wrong. This is how humans are for a great part of society. Or another thing is that depending on circumstances, you can make the exact opposite be true. And now I don't have a particularly good example for this, but this is basically my estimation, because I don't think many scientists are going to agree on everything because they're scientists. Actually, the scientist's job is to basically make experiments. And even though many scientists may as well have the exact same experiments and basically having all of them agree, many scientists basically can have different theories about other different theories about how the world works. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Well, if reality exists, we should use it to our advantage. In what ways, basically? Well, of course, I don't suggest to make profit and basically destroy our beautiful, gorgeous Earth or this world, or to take an advantage of other people. Of course, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying more likely that who knows what's going to happen. Let's just not take the term reality not so seriously, and basically Do your things that you always want to do more real. And the things that you are in love with, that basically can be either fictional or genuinely or fake, straight up fake. Those things may as well be more, may as well give you more compassion and love and teachings about life, that life is damn real, than any other real life that you're living beyond that point. What I want to say is that, because I made it so tiring, is that you can have your own personal experiences, you can have your own personal thoughts, and basically make them work and put them into work. How? Either write them down, or if you have enough fantasy, try to make your own book. You can make your own show. And the acceptance that, okay, reality, I do not know what reality is, but basically I can live my own ways through that reality and have no regrets. It can be amazing sensations, amazing experiences. For example, having amazing shows, amazing books for you to read, may as well be all those things, all those media, books and the shows, can be based on fictional stories and fictional characters, which of course those things do not necessarily exist. And the thing is that it can later exist, because later the book or the show can exist and influence real people. And imagine how, if you have the fantasy and the creativity to basically make something out of nothing, and that story happened to be something amazing, or an invention, or an app, or something that you find to be useful or creative. It's just that we trying to find out what reality is basically holds us down. In what ways? Because we do not dare. Why? Because the things that we are thinking, we're basically saying that, okay, it's just inside my head. There's no such thing as, let's say, a snake walking on two legs and basically trying to learn calisthenics and try to be an electrician. There's no such thing. It's just fake. But what if you were able to make a story based on that? Who knows? It's just an example. I want to say that, okay, I cannot define reality, and I try to use reality to my advantage in ways that I, of course, find healthy and beneficial to me and many other people around me. And the thing is that when you're ironically a bit delusional, you get to understand delusion more and reality more by enforcing, in a way, the things that you say are dear to you, and the thoughts that you have, you can make them real, very real. I get to use the words I'm using right now to give you a description of what I think. And the thing is that I can say to myself that these things may as well be real only for me. But if I could say that my thoughts are real to anybody else, would they be able to believe me? If I was able to describe my thoughts to other people, would they know that these are my thoughts? Probably yes. And so it's just that we people used to have more fantasy and more adventurous vibes when trying to do our things. It's just now that, for some reason, me personally, not saying this as an absolute thing, it's just my personal generalization. It's just that today's people, younger people, have the impression that we kind of bit defeated. We don't really have any motivation or will or drive to do anything because they're not real. Or you should be a realist and basically try to just study, take a license, and find a 8-hour job 5 days a week 8 hours, 9 to 5 typically, and that is it for the rest of your life, for the rest of your existence. 9 to 5 for 40 years, if you're good, if anything goes well. And I think that this is much more tiring to think about, and let alone do it, than to just have some, I don't know, some hobbies, some hopes, some personal favorite things for you to do or say with your own people, and try to make attempts to live your life, to basically exist. To some people, they may as well love their work, but many other people, I believe, not so much. And that's just how it is. That's just reality. Oh well, anything can change at any time. Anything can change at any time. I just don't want to be afraid, and of course, by extension, many other people don't want them to be afraid. And fear is much more personal for me, because it may as well hold you down more than anything else ever will. And basically, I think this is how many people do never chase their dreams, do never dare. It's because there's the concept of fear and the false ideas of reality, which basically no one cares other than the person who holds that standard upon himself to hold himself down. And I wouldn't recommend it. I recommend try and do things, be a scientist, and not in the sense of the license in a way, but in the sense of experimenting yourself and find out what works. Because we really do not know. We do not know. And we can know eventually. We can know what we want. And reality can play a massive role in this. But for the most part, if we do not know what reality is, no bother. Nobody probably knows, and nobody probably will find out. Okay, that's going to be my tiring video for today. I appreciate you so much if you spent so much time here listening to my nonsense. I appreciate you a lot. You can, of course, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'm going to see you next time. Thank you so much for your time, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and bye.